Hello, everyone. And now, I just watched that some episodes of that '90s show. Like I was scrolling through Netflix, and I saw that '90s show. I was like, you know what? Let's give this a chance. Like I mentioned in my video about it like when I reacted to the trailer, and I was like, you know what? Let's just give this a chance to see how it is. So I watched 3 episodes of that '90s show. And before I watched it, I was getting comments on that video I made about that '90s show, and so far all the comments I got were telling me that it sucked and that it was terrible. So I wasn't going in with high expectations anyways, but I was being told that it sucked. So I watched it. I watched 3 episodes. That show is complete garbage. Like, that show was awful. I, I'm 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 going to talk about the things I like first, because there was actually some things I liked. One, Red is still Red, and I like that, and also, like, just all the older cast members was still funny and great. Like, literally any scene they were in, I was like extremely happy about, and I was laughing, and especially the scene when Leo showed up. When Leo showed up, I literally said out loud as I was watching, "Hey, it's Leo, man!" I got a smile on my face when he answered the door, and I think it was like the second episode, like Leo, like Leia and Kitty go to his house to get a movie, and he opens the door, and when I saw him, I literally just went, "Hey, it's Leo, man!" Because I was so happy, and just seeing the characters again was nice. But honestly, that's really it. Now, talk about the things I didn't like. One, the new cast members are completely terrible. I really do not like the new cast and, new characters. Now, I want to say that the people, the actors and actresses who are playing them, no hate towards them. They are just doing their job and all that. But the characters themselves, I do not like. Especially, that one cat. I don't even remember his name. That's how much I did not like him. It's basically the gay Asian dude of their group. I hated that dude. Every time he opened his mouth, I was just like, "Shut up! I don't like you talking." Like, I really hated that dude. Uh, another thing I kind of thought, right? He got a chuckle out of me was, they were telling Leia that she should go after Jay or something, and kiss him, and they said, the characters, they were like, he's a Kelso, so he's a man whore, which that got a chuckle out of me, because I was like, does Kelso have such a reputation in Point Place that the last name Kelso literally, like, people hear it, they just think, okay, this is a guy who sleep around? If so, that would actually be kind of funny. But this is actually one thing I don't like about, like, them bringing back the older cast. Why are Kelso and Jackie together? Like, I don't know if I mentioned this in the previous video. I do not like that Kelso and Jackie are together, but that they are married. That they got married and they have a kid. Like, what? And, the show completely glosses over and forgets about Brooke and Kelso's daughter, which honestly doesn't surprise me. They completely forgot, and, they completely forgot about her the minute Angie shows up in, like, season 7, so that way they can have the running joke of Kelso has nailed everybody's sister, which I've never liked that relationship, and I think Brooke should have stayed longer. I think she was actually, like, helping Kelso, like, mature. But yeah, they completely gloss over that. And another thing I didn't like, so that scene when Leo, like, shows up, while I did like it, immediately after I didn't, because so, like, Leia asked Kitty, she was like, "Hey, how do they know? Like, how do you know Leo?" And she starts explaining, like, "Oh, he was a friend. Like, he was a friend of your dad's, and like, and like all the other teenagers." And then, in my opinion, Kitty was trying her best to basically not mention Hyde. Like, it literally, as I was watching that, I was just like, just say he was basically Hyde's dad. Like, say that. That's who Leo was. Leo's was Hyde's dad. But, like, she kept, like, basically what ended up, she kept trying to find something to say. And I was just like, you're literally just trying to not mention Hyde. Which, the first 3 episodes, they didn't mention him. Now, correct me if I'm wrong if, they mention him later, like in the later episodes. But, in the first 3 episodes, they showed they showed everybody but Bob so far. And I'm positive Bob probably shows up in episode 4 or something. But, like, especially at that moment, I was like, no, this is where you mention Hyde. This is where you mention Hyde. And they didn't. They didn't mention Hyde. And instead, it was obvious she was trying her best to work around mentioning Hyde. Look, I don't care what he did or didn't do. I don't care if he actually did it. I said this in the last one. You don't make a sequel without Hyde. And I'm seeing some people trying to, you'll be like, oh, it's a good thing Hyde's not there. No, dude, everybody loved Hyde. Everybody loved him. I don't care what his actor did or didn't do. You either bring Hyde back or you don't have the show. And, the fact that, they tried so hard not to mention Hyde. And it was obvious that she was trying so hard not to mention Hyde. And it's like, dude, Hyde, it's like, Kitty, Hyde was literally your second son. Hyde was literally her second son that she loved. That she loved. As equally or more than Eric. And you're literally just not going to mention her, especially when you're talking to Leo. Oh. But another thing I didn't like was it was like the first episode. And so Leia comes in and, she arrived late. Like, so she missed the fireworks and everything, and Eric's mad about her about that. I mean, that's fine. Like, that's just normal, like, setup for a joke or something. But she comes into the house, and Eric sees that she has a beer, she has beer in her hands. And she goes, yeah, I have a beer. And then she, like, yells at Eric, being like, I want to stay here. I don't want to, like, live in crappy life with you. And then both Eric, not Eric, both Donna and Kitty look at her and say, oh my God, that was so brave of you. Right? It took so much courage. And then Eric had to apologize later for yelling at her. So she literally did not get in trouble for drinking underage and also yelling and disrespecting her dad. Like, literally in that 70s show, Eric and everybody down there had to literally hide the fact they were drinking beer from Red. And apparently they also, there's still a little bit of Hyde's stash, which, it's clearly Hyde's stash, like, still in the basement. And somehow that's still there even after all these years. From like the end of the 70s all the way to the 90s. Somehow, like, there's still some Hyde stash. Like, are you kidding me? But that moment pissed me off. I'm like, seriously, she's going to do this and admit it up front and then disrespect her dad. Then Eric's the one who has to apologize. Are you kidding me? No. I did like, however, that Eric, like, when Eric yelled at her, he was like, you walk away, then all you're going to get is my foot in your ass. I was so happy when that happened. I was as happy as Red was in that scene. I was like, yes, Eric is becoming Red Foreman. That's what I want to see. But then they treated it as a bad thing. I'm like, no, man, I want Eric to become Red. I want him to be Red. Well, honestly, even that in the first few episodes, like, Red wasn't really the Red from that 70s show. Like, I felt like they kind of, like, calmed him down a little bit. Which, in the third episode, there was this weird kind of plot line where one of the newer characters wanted to have one of Red's flannels. Because his girlfriend was like, oh, you look cute in that. And, if you wore that, I would have sex with you. And then, he went to Red. He was like, hey, can I have this, like, flannel so my girlfriend would have sex with me? Which, by the way, there was so many fucking... I felt like there was a lot of dick jokes in that 90s show. Which, that 70s show, there was a lot of, like, jokes about, them doing it and all this stuff. But not as much. Like, literally, it seemed like every sentence, it was a dick joke. And, a dick joke or, like a dirty joke. Like, basically it's just a sex joke. And it's just like, dude, that's not, like, it's funny once maybe, but when that's literally the entire, like, when that's literally every joke, that's not funny. Like, it's literally not. And, like, episode 3 ended off with, like, Leia went and she was like, okay, I'm going to go kiss somebody. She goes up to basically the ice cream, like the guy who works at the ice cream like place. She harassed like, but not that like a few minutes ago in that very episode, and then kisses him, and then the whole thing like it's like slow mo. She walks away all cool, and it's literally like you were literally harassing him this whole time. Like, don't act like you're cool. Like literally, if Eric did that, then or literally any guy did that, it would be seen as a terrible thing. Which I don't like playing that card, but it would have. And after the first episode, it kind of did, this season on that 90s show where it showed clips of each episode, which, like, it showed a little scene of Donna, like, she came back to talk with Leia because Kitty called her, and she was like, oh, Leia's about to have sex. And then it just cuts to Leia being like, oh, so Dad wasn't as smooth as he said he was. So did Eric tell Leia about everything about, being like, oh, I was so smooth and I fucked your mom? Hell, they literally had a conversation where Leia was literally like, did you do it with mom on the stairs? And Eric's literally standing there like thinking, it's like, what the hell? Like, what parent is telling their kid that they had sex with their mom as a little kid? Unless you're Ted Mosby. But, like, also another thing, with Kitty and Eric did this too, they smelled, like, each other's hair. That was just weird. Like, literally the entire first episode, Kitty kept smelling Eric's hair. And, it's made it seem like that, it's like, oh, Kitty misses them. No, dude, it literally made Kitty look like a creep. And then Eric did it to his own daughter. And it's like, what's going on? Eric's talking about banging Leia's mother right in front of her. And then he's smelling her hair. What's next? Like, you're going to have an episode where Eric literally tries to bang her? Hell, they had an episode back in season 4 of that 70s show where he tried to sleep with his cousin. And I honestly wouldn't be surprised if, that 90s show is like, okay, let's let him try to have sex with his daughter. The first 3 episodes were not good. They were not good at all. And I wanted to stop after the first one, but I was like, you know what? I'm just going to keep going. I think it was the second one, when they were going for the movies. And there was this passing reference where Kitty walks into like the adult only section and she's like, Pastor Dave, how are you? And then she walks out. She's like, that's very unholy. How dare you do that to Pastor Dave? Pastor Dave would not be in the porn section. He wouldn't. That's literally not the Pastor Dave we know. Like, how dare you? If you're going to mention Pastor Dave, that's what you do. Like, he was, I think that he last showed up in, like, season 2 of that 70s show. Probably even later. I don't remember his last episode. But, like, you bring him up just to be like, oh, he's looking at porn. Like, are you serious? But yeah, I did not like that 90s show. The 3 episodes I saw, I did not like. I don't really want to watch the other ones. And, especially them dodging, not mentioning Hyde. Like, it's messed up. It's stupid. The newer characters are dumb and stupid. They aren't funny. And, apparently there was they brought up the fact that Fez and Jackie went together by Jackie called Kelso on the phone while they were, like, at the honeymoon or something, and then left to go sleep and have an affair with Kelso. Which is just like, dude, at that point, literally, Jackie would not be in love with Kelso. She would not even want to be with Kelso. She was over him. Like, literally by the time she was dating Hyde. This show was terrible. Like, this show was so bad, and I'm not going to continue. I don't think I'm going to watch the rest of season 1. I don't like hate watching like many people do. I wouldn't be surprised if it got season 2, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if it got canceled after season 1 because that's what Netflix does. But this show was not good. I did not like it. There was a few moments I laughed, but it was because the old cast members, like none of the newer cast members, made me laugh. Like frankly, the newer cast members and the newer characters just made me groan and like frustration. This show wasn't good. I'm gonna go back watching that '70s show now. I'm gonna watch the good show with Stephen Hyde. Like it is still actually insulting that like they just did that. Like again, I don't care what he did or didn't do. You either have Stephen Hyde in there or you don't. Like this show was just awful.